Good morning, afternoon, or evening, everyone, depending where you are. It's our great pleasure to welcome you all to today's webinar, Public Awareness and Communication about Radiation Risk, as part of the Holistic Radiation Protection Perspective series. We are delighted to be here with all of you, joining forces with such a dynamic community of passionate professionals and inspiring leaders in the field. We are fortunate to be joined by experts from around the globe who will be offer invaluable insights into how we can shape and support the future of radiation protection. The contributions shared today will help guide the next generation of professionals in navigating educational pathways, advancing their careers, and making a tangible impact in the field. As you may know, this event is hosted in collaboration with the Radiation Protection and Nuclear Safety Youth Network, RPNS-YN from Kenya, and Women in Nuclear Innovation, WINI Group of WIN Global. In this occasion, we count with the support of the Nuclear Society of Kenya and the International Radiation Protection Association, IRPA Young Generation Network. So this is for today's program, and the central to this initiative is the focus on effective communication, which plays a pivotal role in simplifying radiation risk for the public. Through this series, we will explore strategies for crafting impactful public awareness campaigns, along with approaches to conveying complex scientific information in ways that are accessible and engaging for a wide range of audiences. The series aims to foster an environment of collaboration where participants can deepen their understanding and enhance their ability to communicate crucial radiation protection concepts. So for today, we have some welcoming remarks, and I have the pleasure and the honor to provide a few words on behalf of the Women in Nuclear Innovation group. At WINI, we are passionate about creating inclusive spaces where innovation, collaboration, and leadership in the nuclear field can thrive, especially by empowering women and young professionals to take an active role in shaping the future of radiation protection. Today's public awareness and communication about radiation risk, this is the topic, is one that resonates deeply with our mission, because no matter how advanced our technologies become or how robust our safety protocols are, they are only as effective as our ability to communicate them clearly and compassionately. We live in a time where public perception can be shaped in seconds by headlines, social media, or even fictional portrayals. That's why it's more important than ever that we as professionals, scientists, educators, and advocates learn how to bridge the gap between complex scientific and public understanding. This webinar brings together this diverse group of voices from Canada, China, Kenya, and beyond, each offering unique insights into how we can build trust, dispel myths, and foster a culture of safety through communication. And to all of you who are joining us, thank you very much for being part of this journey. Your presence here shows a commitment not just to learning, but to leading. So we hope today's session inspires you to think differently, to speak confidently, and engage more deeply with the communities you serve. Thank you, Edwin. Over to you, please.
Yeah, thank you, Florencia, because of this chance. I am Edwin Kagai. I am the secretary to RPNS, that is Radiation Protection and Nuclear Safety Youth Network. We are located in Kenya. And mine is just very simple to welcome you, to ask you to feel at home. And this is where we organize this webinar together with WIN, that is Women in Nuclear Innovation. So RPNS, I'm going to just tell you a brief introduction where we began. We began in August 2023, and we are registered in the Kenyan government as a CBO, that is a community-based organization. And our achievements goes to formulating university chapters, where we have been able to formulate one which is in operational, and it is in Kenyatta University. We have also been able to commit ourselves to train our members and to equip them with basic education on radiation protection and also nuclear safety. Our operations are normally community oriented, and we focus in ensuring that the community knows how to use radiation applications in a safe way and the best practices they can do so that they can ensure a safety culture when they are applying these radiation techniques. We have been able to do various partnerships that are aimed to ensure knowledge sharing and capacity building. And these collaborations have gone even international. And we have the chemistry with the international forum has been just amazing. From attending seminars to hosting free webinars on radiation protection, careers, and even awareness. And all these have been done in collaboration with other like-minded networks. Among them being Winnie, and a big thanks to Winnie because of accepting to hold this holistic radiation protection perspective webinars. There will not be one or two, there will be many, and we are going to welcome you, all of you. In case we ask you to attend, uh, then know that we are appreciating your attention and even your participation. I wish to thank all of you, also the collaborators, that is Nuclear Society of Kenya, and even our partners, and those that are in RPNS circle, our members, even the executive, Mr. Tom, who is our chairman, who is not here, and our patron, Dr. Margaret Chege, I appreciate you, and even those we work together with at ILPA. I can see seeing Victoria. Yeah, so I just wish to tell you Karibu. That means welcome, all of you. And last webinar was about education and career in radiation protection, and now this one is about public awareness and community communication about radiation risks. So RPNS is just a youth vision of change, and you are aiming to educate the members and collaborating with all of you. So feel welcome, and we shall interact from here. You can feel free to text on the chat, and you may tarry for a photo session as you progress. So thank you very much. Back to you, Florencia.
Thank you very much, Edwin. Over to Margaret, please, if you can proceed with your welcoming remarks.
Thank you very much, Florencia, and thank you very much, Edwin. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, wherever you may be joining us from. We are delighted to have you here with us. And just like Edwin has said, Karibu Sana. That is most welcome. My name is Dr. Margaret Chege. I'm a lecturer in the Department of Physics, Kenyatta University, Kenya. I'm also the patron of Radiation Protection and Nuclear Safety Youth Network. And like Florencia has said, RPNS-YN and Winnie, which is part of WIN logo, has partnered host this webinar, being the second of a series of seminars and holistic radiation protection perspective. Today's seminar webinar is on public awareness and communication about radiation risks. And this could not have come at a better time because the African region at the moment has opened up to the use of radiation and nuclear technology, for example, in power generation, in the medical field, in agriculture, in industry, among others. And it is very important to note that radiation and nuclear applications have to be accompanied, they have to go hand in hand with protection and safety. And as the Radiation Protection and Nuclear Safety Youth Network, It is a joy to be associated with radiation protection and nuclear safety in this important field. Today's seminar brings together 4 continents: Africa, America, Asia, and Europe. And this is in addition to representation from like-minded national, regional, and international organizations that include World Nuclear Association, we have Nuclear Society of Kenya, and the International Radiation Protection Association Young Generation Network, RPNS-YN. Also represented in this webinar is IRPA Technical Group of Mentorship and the Africa IRPA YGN. Now, I'd like you to join me in welcoming our 2 speakers. We have our first speaker is Dirosan Devanandan. He's a chemical technologist, emergency response organization member, Darlington Nuclear Generation Station, Ontario Power Generation, Canada. We also have Professor Rui Q, who is a professor in the Department of Engineering and Physics, Singapore University, Kenya. And just a brief bio on them, on our 2 speakers. Mr. Dirosan is a dedicated nuclear professional working at Ontario Power Generation, OPG, one of Canada's leading clean nuclear producers. Originally from Sri Lanka, he moved to Canada in 2017 and pursued his education in chemistry at Seneca Polytechnic, Canada. Through perseverance and passion for the nuclear field, he built a successful career in radiation protection and nuclear safety. He actively contributes to advancing safety culture, operational excellence, and public awareness in the nuclear industry. He is also committed to mentoring newcomers and youth in the field, reflecting his strong belief in inclusive and informed engagement on nuclear topics. Professor Q is our second speaker. Professor Q is a full professor at the Department of Engineering Physics of Tsinghua University in China. Her current research interests mainly lie in 2 aspects. One is radiation dosimetry with computational human phantoms. The other is accelerator physics. She serves in various task groups and committees, among them ICRP Task Group 103, IRPA Young Generation Network, Women in Nuclear Global, ARADOS, URADOS, among others. Now, Professor Q has informed us that she has an urgent engagement at this time that will not allow her to be with us, but she's been kind enough to send us a recording, which we'll play for you. Please, for our 2 speakers, note down all the questions you may have on chat or the question and answer section, and we will ask them on your behalf. On the other hand, you can put up your hand and we can give you a chance to ask the questions directly. For the questions addressed to Professor Q, we will forward them to her, and if any of us will be able to handle them, we'll be happy to help where possible. And with that, without further ado, I would now like to invite our first presenter, Mr. His name is a little bit difficult for me to pronounce. Mr. Dirosan, please feel welcome, and will be happy to hear what you have for us. Welcome.
Hello, good morning, everybody. Like, good morning, good afternoon, or where, depending on which part of the world you are from. A little bit to start about myself. I'm Deroshan Devanandan, and I work as a chemical technologist, and also I'm part of the emergency response organization um, in Canada. I work for the nuclear power rating generation station in Ontario, Canada. Um, Thank you for having me. So, I'm going to present to you about communicating radiation risks and bridging the gap between science and public understanding. Can we go to the next slide? So, introduction, why radiation protection matters. Radiation protection is about minimizing unnecessary exposure to ionizing radiation to safeguard human health and protect the environment, ensure workplace safety, and fulfill legal and ethical responsibilities. Proper protection save lives and prevent long-term harm. As a nuclear generating station in Canada, like we have our ethical and also we have like legal requirements to operate our station in a certain way that we don't expose or we don't get people exposure to any radiation contaminations or any radiation exposures. So how do we maintain this by creating a proper communication and also by creating a proper protocols that are in place to keep people aware of what is radiation and what kind of radiation hazards are there, and in case of emergency what are the protocols to follow. And the power of effective communication empowers everyone involved in radiation protection to make safe, informed decisions. It saves life, build trust, ensure compliance, and foster culture of safety. Without strong communication, even the best technical protection can fail. So without proper protocols and without proper communication, even though best effective working condition plants or like any radiation environment can also fail. So effective communication is very important. Moving to the next slide. Why communication is vital. So it's to build the trust and the public confidence. To be honest, as a person from the nuclear power generating station, and also I live very close to our power plant. So I need to have the confidence even myself to be around the plant without getting any exposures or anything. As as a person from the plant, like who's working in a nuclear environment, uh, for me, understanding, giving the trust to the people, my neighbors or my community, the trust and confidence that you're gonna be okay. We have protective measures and right protocols and right rules and regulations up there to protect themselves and myself as well. And we have to communicate it to make sure that they know, and also to prevent misinformation and fear. Sometimes we have our own perception of what is nuclear or what is the radiation risks, that we usually get it from the movies or like comics, or that's how we initially know about radiation, right? So most of the community, they don't have enough information or detail about radiation. So it is important for us to make sure to communicate what is radiation and what are the risks. So in from this we can prevent misinformation and fear, and also to empower communities to make informed decisions. So uh, as all around the world the nuclear is expanding, we are creating new generating stations for power, and also we are creating more like more corporate like nuclear facilities to produce like medical isotopes to help people fight cancer and clean the health devices and stuff. So it is important that we communicate in a way that people know what we do, and people also know like what are the what are the risks and what are the benefits they can get from nuclear. In that way, they can get proper decision making when the time arises for them to decide whether they want a nuclear plant around their community. So it is very important. And can we move to the next slide? And public perception of radiation. As I was talking before, people have their own belief and own illusion of what is nuclear, because we initially get to know about nuclear through like movies and comics. It's how we get like the first taste of nuclear. But without the proper communication, they can have their own perceptions, right? So common misconceptions. All radiation is dangerous, because when they think about radiation, they think only the bad. They don't know about the good side of the radiation. For an example, we create medical isotopes that saves thousands of lives. And also, we are one of the biggest power producers for our grid in Canada. So, who help us to power our homes and offices, schools, and everything. So, we need to teach the people through proper communication all radiations are not dangerous. And also, nuclear power plants regularly leak radiation. To be honest, I'm from a nuclear power plant, and our plant is around now for like more than 60 years. And also, we are doing a refurb to keep it going for another 30 years, and we never had a leak. So, it is important to communicate them and tell them it's been around. And with a digital world now, we need to make sure that people know. And also, you can feel or see radiation. This is a common misconception around people, that they can see radiation. No, they can't see radiation. We have proper RP techniques and tools to detect radiation. Only the instruments can detect or feel the radiation. And radiation from medical procedure is unsafe. This is also another common misconception in the world, that uh, radiation from medical procedures are unsafe, like x-rays or CT scans. No, it's not. Each instrument that's out there which uses radiation to help the medical procedure, they go through a legal and also regulatory rules that they need to follow in order to keep the instrument like calibrated, or instrument commissioned to be out in the society. So that's another misconception. And also, influence of media and pop culture. As I was talking before, like we have seen Incredible Hulk. He gains his power through radiation. That's just a misconception from people, that uh, they to make the comic even interesting, or to make the comic like more sellable, they add some extra stuffs to it, and people get kind of misconception from it. And also, fear of the unknown. Most of the time, when we are communicating about radiation and radiation risk, we don't exactly tell them, or exactly people don't understand what's there or what is it exactly, and they don't go deep into it. Because of that, there is this always an X factor that people are not aware of. Next slide. Why perception matter? It affects public behavior. Recently, like we are going through so many public sessions from my nuclear power plant to explain to people about why do we need more power plants, why do we need more working corporate commercial reactors to make power. So in order to put it out there, in order to start a new initiative, we need people in a proper understanding and proper behavior. If I don't communicate, or if my organization don't communicate why nuclear is important and what are the risks and what are the benefits, people always gonna stand against it, or stand with it. Public behavior is hugely affected by the perception of nuclear. So we need to be communicating it properly for them to understand it. And also influences policies and decision making. As I was saying, so in my area, we are putting a new small modular reactors for extra power for the society. To make it happen, we need the community's support, and also we need to make some policy changes that need people support and that need to go through like a legal and ethical board meetings, and we need approval from both community and as well as the government as well. To get that, we need to make sure that we communicate and make the perception right, and also impact mental and social well-being. uh, so if I don't communicate what is nuclear, if I don't make the proper perception of what's nuclear, I'm going to create more stress to people and I'm going to affect life. People start, if my community, they don't know what is nuclear and what are the risks and what are the benefits, they're going to start moving around and they don't want to be around a nuclear power plant. Because we have a proper communication before, because of we have reduced the gap between people and community. That's the reason that we can make the new changes. We can bring in new small modular reactors. We can start new nuclear power plants because we have that proper communication out there, and also guides communication strategies. Even though we have right protocols and right legal requirements within our organization, we need to have a proper strategies to get it to the people. Like if we put it out in a newsletter and we just leave it, only like 50 or 70% of the people gonna see it. So we need to find a way to properly pass the message around to affect the perception to the community. Can I have the next slide? And strategies for effective communication. Use clear and simple language. So if I'm communicating with a common person, as a person from the nuclear power plant where we work around radiation environments and we work with nuclear terms and stuff, if I come to a common man and I start saying all the hard words, so all the like technical terms, they might not understand. It might freak them, or it might put them in a, again, a misconception of what I'm talking about. So we need to communicate in a use a clear and simple language, and also be honest and transparent. As one of the legal requirement for our organization, we need to communicate it properly, to put it out there like honest and transparent, and also listen and address concerns. Always the communication should be both ways. If we are giving the community some information, we also need to listen and address the concerns of the community. As same as this webinar, like at the end of the day they're going to be a Q&A session, and where your question will be addressed and answered. So it is important, the communication should be both ways, and also provide visual and demonstrations. So if we're going to build a new nuclear or new radiation commercial plant or something, we need to put it in a proper visual that people understand what it is and what they can expect from it. So it gives them a more uh, clear path to see it. So that's very important. And also repeat and enforce key messages. So if we are putting out an emergency response manual out there, we need to make sure that it is only for emergency, and also we need to make sure that they know how, in times of crisis, how to respond to it, and also engage community leaders and trusted sources. So always, we're not going to get, if a community got 100 people, we're not going to get 100 people. So we need to have like a community leader. So for an example, the WIN group, we need a proper leader and trusted sources to put it out there. So when it coming from you, people believe it, people trust, because this community or this small team is made of the people that they know, their neighbors and their community people, so they trust it more. So we need to make sure to engage always a community leaders and trusted sources. Next one. So I put a case study on the Gianni accident in Brazil. In 1987, a radiotherapy machine containing highly radioactive cesium-137 was abandoned in an old clinic in Brazil. Local scavengers found the device, broke it open, and unknowingly spread the radioactive material throughout the community. So they found a machine which is common, like an X-ray or CT machine, and they started like breaking it to take out the pieces and stuff. And unknowingly, they have, because that specific radiotherapy machine contains cesium-137, which is an alpha emitter. They started spreading radioactive material throughout the community. So why this happened? Because of the communication challenges. We don't have proper awareness of what is this instrument is about, the science, right? Because of the community is not unfamiliar with the radiation hazards, and they didn't understand the warning symbols on the instrument. And also spread of misinformation. Rumors and fear quickly spread, leading to panic and discrimination against the affected families. And also the people who got affected through this incident, they started like spreading rumors around, like it's like a virus. It's gonna get into if you get contact with that person who got affected. But it is not, because radiation is not transferable from person to person when somebody is affected. So we also need to communicate it properly. And also delayed official response. Initial communication from authorities were slow and unclear. So this is where I mean, like, communication is very important, because even an emergency rises, with the proper communication we can reduce the significant event, and also we can reduce the effect from it. So consequences of this event: over 200 people were contaminated and 4 died from the acute radiation syndrome, and also many suffered psychological trauma and logical stigma. The cleanup was costly and complicated by panic and resistance from the public. Again, without a proper communication and telling the people what's happening or what are the protocols to reduce the mess or the radiation spread. Without the communication, people don't know. People gonna panic, and people not gonna follow your instruction, right? So the lessons learned from it: important of early and clear communication with the immediate and transparent information would have reduced panic and help contain the incident. So let's think about it. Like, let's think about this incident. Like, if we have a proper communication and early instructions, people would have known what the instrument is and what to look for and what not to do with it, right? With this, and people would have stayed away from it. Or even some incident happens, people know how to react to it. Don't go near, or restrict the area. So people didn't know that. And also community education, teaching people about radiation symbols. I will tell you why radiation symbol is important. 60 70 years from now, people only gonna identify the radiation risk through the symbols, because by the time languages might change, we don't know how humans gonna evolve at that point. So radiation symbols and understanding the warning and emergency procedures are very important to keep our community safe. And also engagement with local leaders. As I said, the WIN, RPYS, and NAYGN, those communities, they bring leaders that they know how to react to an incident like this, so they know how to respond to an incident like this. So it's always important to engage the local leaders so they can communicate it more effectively. Next slide. So, in conclusion, radiation protection is not about technical controls and regulation. It relies heavily on how information is communicated and understood. Misconception, fear of unknown, and media influence can all shape public perception and behavior. Effective communication empowers community, build trust, and ensure that everyone can make informed decisions to protect themselves and others. So, call to action: promote clear and honest communication, always share accurate, transparent information about radiation risk and safety measures, and also engage and educate. Take an active role. Like all of you, you guys have some important roles out there, like representing the nuclear community. So, engage and educate. Anytime you see a confused or somebody having a misconception of nuclear, try to educate them and try to engage them. What is nuclear? What can we learn and gain from it? and all the advantages from nuclear and what are the defenses that you have out there, and also foster trust and participation. Work together. So I'm from Canada, and I'm talking with people all around the world now. So I'm bringing the trust, I'm bringing the participation from where I am to you guys to keep our nuclear culture safety and prepared, and stay informed. Keep learning about radiation protection and engage others to do the same. As I said again, it's we are working as one team, so we need to like educate each other, inform. If one part of the world have a new information, now it's shared through WANO, World Authorized Nuclear Organization, right? So it is important to be stay informed, and together we can ensure safer, healthier communities through knowledge, understanding, and effective communication. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much for that amazing presentation, quite informative. So Florentia, over to you.
Thank you very much, Margaret. Let me just play the video sent by Professor Chi. Um, just bear with me for a few seconds. Thanks.
As we wait for Florentia to get ready. Florentia, good to go.
Yeah, please go ahead, Margaret.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Ray from Tsinghua University. It's a great pleasure for me to have this opportunity to share our study on the development of multi-scale dosimetry and its applications in radiation protection. Before I start, I would like to show you the whole scheme that we have developed with the multi-scale dosimetry. So generally there are three categories. In the first category, we develop whole body phantoms, which enable us to calculate the equivalent dose and effective dose, which are radiation protection quantities. You know that usually the dose limit is defined with equivalent dose and effective dose. Well, in the second category, we developed some detailed organ models, which enable us not only obtain the average dose in each organ, but also the dose distribution inside the organ. In the third category, we develop atomic DNA models, which enable us to study the DNA damage. We know that the DNA damage is the primary damage of radiation to the biology cells. We know that dose estimation is very important in radiation protection because with dose estimation, we can estimate how much damage would be induced for human beings. Well, with this multi-scale dosimetry scheme, we can calculate the dose more precisely. So we can estimate the radiation risks more precisely. So in this talk, I will talk a little bit about the background of computational human phantom, and then talk about the development of multi-scale dosimetry with multi-scale phantoms in the three categories. And then I will move to the applications of multi-scale dosimetry. So we know that dose calculation is very important, and computational human phantom is the key tool for the dose calculation to obtain the dose inside the body. Actually, the computational human phantom has gone through 3 generations. The first one is a stylized phantom, which utilizes the mathematical equations to describe the human body. The second generation is so-called voxel phantoms. It uses millions of voxels to describe human body, and each voxel belongs to one organ or tissue. But it has some limitations because the resolution would be limited by the voxel resolution. And also, it's difficult to deform the phantom. Therefore, the third generation phantoms are generated, which is called hybrid phantom or mesh type phantoms. In this case, the phantoms are easily deformed. Moreover, it can describe very delicate structures. So now, the hybrid phantom or mesh type phantom is the most advanced phantoms in the whole world. Well, in my laboratory, actually, we are doing similar studies with ICRP. We developed the Chinese mathematical phantoms in the past. This is the male and female phantoms. And then we developed the Chinese reference adult voxel phantoms. And the mass of individual organs has been adjusted to the Chinese reference value. And we include all the organs required in ICRP recommendations. And we have site-specific skeleton voxel models which can describe the red bone marrow distribution in the skeleton. And then we developed the most advanced type of the phantoms, which is mesh type phantom. So you can see that it has very precise structures in the organs, and also the postures can be adjusted. And another thing is that children are more radiosensitive than adults. Therefore, we need to develop the pediatric phantoms to calculate the dose for children. We developed the mesh type Chinese reference pediatric phantom series for the 3-month old, 1-year-old, 5-year-old, 10-year-old, and 15-year-old female and male. So this is a series of Chinese pediatric phantoms. And all these phantoms are the difference of the organ mass with the Chinese reference value are less than 2%. So we have adjusted them to the reference value in the Chinese standard to represent the Chinese pediatric population. And we also developed the Chinese adult phantom library with different height and weight to cover the physical characteristics of 90% Chinese population. And more recently, we have developed this dynamic phantom. So here you can see that this is my student. She is a fan of Taiji. So she played Taiji and let the moving capture device to capture her movement and then make our phantoms move like her postures. So with this technique, we can calculate the dose for the moving people, because in the past, we can just calculate the dose for the standing person, but now we can calculate the dose when people move around. But the one of the limitation of the mesh type phantom is that the calculation speed is too low, even though it can calculate the dose more precisely. Then we come to think about one idea to develop a CPU-GPU coupling method for the mesh type phantom dose calculation. It is the first time to achieve this fast calculation for the mesh type phantom, because the acceleration ratio could be up to 170 times for photons. So the calculation time is much reduced. Okay, that's all for the whole body phantom. Now let's move to the detailed organ models. The first detailed organ model that we developed is the detailed breast voxel model, because we know that SRP has increased the breast tissue weighting factor from 0.5 to 0.12, which means that breast is more radiosensitive than our previous knowledge. So it's very important to estimate the dose for the breast. In this case, we have developed a detailed breast voxel model with all these kind of detailed structures. And then we developed a detailed mesh type breast model library. It covers the breast size ranging from AA to D, and the size of the models also referred to the Chinese women. Actually, it can also be adjusted to any woman. Another detailed organ model is the eye model. We know that eye is also radiosensitive. And ICRP has recommended to reduce the occupational equivalent dose limit for the length of the eye from 150 millisievert to 20 millisievert per year. So it's also important to calculate the dose for the lens. In this case, we developed a detailed eye model so that we can calculate the eye dose more precisely. The third model is the detailed skeleton model, because we know that the skeleton model is very important. The red bone marrow and bone endosteum are associated with radiogenic leukemia and bone cancer. So we collected 2 bone samples, and then we performed a micro-CT scan to very tiny bone samples at different locations, and to obtain this micro-CT image. And the resolution is 19 micrometer. It is the smallest resolution in the whole world. And we managed to combine the tiny microscopic spongiosa model and the macro skeleton model together, so that we can calculate the red bone marrow dose and the bone endosteum dose more precisely. The last one is the detailed human respiratory tract model. We know that radon is one of the most important natural radiation source, and its radiation hazard has been a concern. For the dose estimation for radon, the detailed respiratory tract model is very important. In the past, the respiratory tract model is like this. So you can see that it cannot describe the detailed structure of respiratory tract. So we developed this detailed model with a 16 generation of bronchial tree. Okay, now let's move to the third category, which is the DNA model. We know that the DNA damage is very important to understand radiation damage to human body. In the past, only this kind of very simplified DNA model is used in study. So we have developed a atomic DNA model, which models each atom in the DNA structure. So from DNA double helix to nuclear thumbs and chromatin fiber and then nucleus. But only with the DNA model is not enough to understand what radiation damage is. We need to develop the nanodosimetry biophysics molecular code. So we have developed this code, which is called NASIC. It covers all the process, including the physical stage and chemical stage and biological stage. So it has physical module, pre-chemical module, chemical module, DNA damage module, and DNA repair module. So this is very complex. Now I will talk about the applications. So first we have calculated the dose conversion coefficients with the detailed organ models with, for example, with the eye model, with the breast model, for different kinds of scenarios, for example, with the environmental radiation source. And this is dose reconstruction for one accident. So in 2015, unfortunately, this guy picked up the source, which was lost by accident. And then he put it in his pocket for 2 hours. And then his skin on the leg was severely damaged. In this case, we choose one phantom whose height and weight is close to this person, and we calculate the dose distribution, not only in the organs, but also on the skin. So we found that the whole body dose is 1.18 to 2.2 degree, and it's consistent with the biological dose. The testis dose is higher than the threshold of permanent infertility, and which is and another important value of this study is that it can help to the operation, because usually 20 degree is the threshold for excision. So we have calculated the excision area for this dose limit. So this study can provide a reference for the operation in this kind of accident. Well, another thing is the dose conversion coefficients for the internal dosimetry, and also we can get the dose distribution for the radon. Okay, I will move to the last application, which is the application in medical health physics. So in this study, we have calculated different types of medical exposures for CT scan, X-ray radiography, and mammography, because these are frequently used in our common life. In the past, the dose conversion coefficients were calculated with a stylized phantom. So in this case, we have calculated the dose conversion coefficients with the advanced phantoms. For CT scan, and also we did experiment to validate. And also this is the dose calculation for the breast for mammography. And we also performed the dose experiment to validate our calculation. Okay, I will wrap it up. In this study, we have developed a Chinese phantom library, including adult phantoms and pediatric phantoms, and detailed organ models. With this phantom library, we have calculated the dose for the Chinese population, and those results have adopted by the Chinese standard which provide a more precise dose estimation tool. Thank you very much. This is my email address. If you have any questions or anything, you can contact me. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Two amazing presentations that complement each other. We have one presentation that talks about the need for and the importance of radiation risk communication. Why do you need to talk about a risk that is associated with radiation applications and nuclear applications? And this, of course, comes about because of use of radiation and nuclear technology, which is a good thing, but there is the risk element. And the second one details how you evaluate that risk, or the science of evaluation of that risk, and demonstrate that accidents can occur. And because accident can occur, there is need to quantify the risk, to quantify the dose, and to put in place the required protective measures. I know there are some students in the universities that are doing something not similar, but something close to that. But now I believe we can go a step further, students in the universities, and make the research even more comprehensive. So thank you to our two presenters, and I'll now pass over the mic to Florencia. Florencia, please proceed.
Thank you, Margaret. We were requested by IRPA-YN members if we can take a group picture, please. So we would like to invite the audience to open your cameras and we can have a capture of this event. And then we will proceed with the Q&A session after we are done with the picture. So please, I invite all the audience to open your cameras. We have Mrs. Cheng, Xiaohong Cheng from China. She's the winning leader of the group and very supportive. She helped us to reach out to Professor Chu, and we have this amazing presentation from her. So we also have Victoria Hersner from IRPA-YN from Austria joining us today. We're still missing some faces in the picture. We will really appreciate if all of you can join us.
And just a quick one, we also have Dr. Suleiman Bello, who is representing Africa IRPA-YN. I don't know if we have someone from Nuclear Society of Kenya. Yeah. So yeah, please proceed.
Yes, we're still missing some people in the picture. Let's just have 2 or 3 more seconds if all of you can join us. It will be great to capture this moment. We heard from our EarPad collaborators they would like to post some news about this event in their newsletter, so that's very kind of them. Thank you so much. So let me take a picture of the count of 3. If you can give me your best smile, I'll appreciate that. So let us do it. 1, 2, and 3. Just let us take one last picture as a backup, and then we will proceed with the Q&A. Just bear with me for a few seconds. So at the count of 3, let me just take the last picture again. 1, 2, 3. Thank you all. We will forward the details to RPNS-YN members that they can assist us by sharing their insights about this session today. We invite the audience to drop your questions, or if you would like to open the mic and create your question for any speaker and for all of us. So please just let us know who would like to drop your question, please. We are welcoming the audience. Oh, we have Dr. Suleiman Bello, please. And then afterwards, I think we have Seth as well as the second participant. Please, Suleiman, proceed.
Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity to speak. I am very happy to listen to the two presentations actually, because the first presentation about communication really taught us something that is very, very important, and taught us that we are supposed to take this issue of communication very serious. The issue of awareness creation with respect to radiation protection in Africa is a very serious thing that we should all try hard to see that we do our best to do. Because presently, the way it is done, it is very, very low. Many people are very much scared about radiation. They don't know much about it. Therefore, we have to engage, we have to create social media handles, do our best, with respect to, public communication and how we communicate the science of risk. Because when you look at it, people accept many different type of risks. But when it comes to radiation, people always behave as if they are zero tolerant about radiation. So we have to, take the issue of communication, public communication very serious. We are scientists and we know very little about public communication. That is why while we were busy speaking science, the public is busy interpreting the science in a different way. So we have to do well about the issue of public communication. And then with respect to the second presentation, I don't know. I have seen many different pantoms, and the pantoms are specifically for Chinese people. I'm impressed by that kind of work. But in our calculations with respect to risk estimation, what we normally use is the generic, pantoms, ICRP pantoms for different age groups and sometimes for representative persons. And I have been having this, concern that are we really estimating the dose accurately? Because we are using a generic model. We don't have, as far as I know, we don't have a model that is appropriate for the African population. So I don't know how can we go about this, and how widely different is the difference in the dose estimate between the generic one we use and the appropriate one that is being estimated out there. So I hope somebody will shed light on this. And if we need to start working on, trying to come up with African specific pantoms, that can capture our lifestyle, our social habits, our anatomy, our physiology, that will be very good. Because otherwise, whenever I'm doing calculations, seriously, I am very much concerned about, the kind of values, the assumptions we keep making every day. And I think as African, radiation protection organizations, we have to start thinking along the line. We can join hands, collaborate, and see what we can do along this line. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Suleiman, for bringing that very important question. Mr. Jerson, would you like to complement with additional comments on Margaret?
Once again, thank you for having me. And my internet got just cut like in between, so I didn't hear what like a little bit part of the last person's question. But again, thanks for having me. And if you have any questions, Florencia, you can leave my email address or my LinkedIn profile to them, they can email me anytime or message me anytime. I will be happy to answer their questions. So thank you so much, and yes.
Thank you. Margaret.
Thank you very much, Florentia. Yes, I do agree with what Dr. Bello has said, both in relation to risk communication, that is a gray area in most African countries. And I actually have a question for Mr. Adiro-san. Here in Kenya, we rarely talk about risk. And at times, when people talk about risk, we assume that they don't want applications of nuclear and radiation. So I don't know, how can you approach the issue of risk? You're talking about risk, but at the same time, you're not making people see nuclear or radiation as bad. You balance, yes, nuclear is good, but there's some risk attached, and for that reason, you have to protect yourself. How exactly can you go about addressing these two issues so that they don't conflict? As for what Professor Q has presented in her video, we are not that advanced in most African countries about having a phantom lab, but I think, like Dr. Suleiman has said, this is an area that we really need to invest on so that the medical procedures in hospitals are done in a safe and a secure manner, both for the patient and for the person operating the machine. Thank you.
I think we had before said Joshua before going to Humphrey Adenia, if that's possible. So we welcome you, Mr.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, okay, probably can you give the place to Mr. Seth because he raised before the hand and then we continue with your comments as well, if that's possible. Mr. Seth,
Can you hear me?
proceed? Yes, we hear you.
Okay. I have a question. In most African countries, we have an issue of flash floods, right? And so I'm worried that what if we end up in a situation whereby there is a flash flood close to a nuclear power plant, and then this flash flood, the water gets into the nuclear waste storage pools, right? And then it goes back to the public because flash flood is not controlled. So has there ever been thought of a situation of having to clean up water from a flash flood? Of course, you cannot even clean it up. How can you handle that type of accident? And then also in the discussion about introducing nuclear like to African countries, I was in a webinar whereby we were talking about professionals who are coming to handle this plan. But then a question arises, are we also training our medics to be able to handle radiation dosage effects, like from the university level, so that we don't end up in a situation like the coronavirus pandemic, whereby the doctors are trying to catch up because they have never handled this type of issue before. And in this training, are we training not only the doctors, but also the overall medical fraternity? Because the first point of contact is normally not even the medics, it's the social workers, right from the dispensary, from the villages. So thank you so much. The first question, handling flash floods and radiation protection about that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Mr. Dearson, would you like to comment on that? What are the current practices implemented by Canadians at OPG facilities?
Absolutely. Like in case of floods, um, so it's again a OPEX, like operational experience, from Japan back in like 2012 when they had the tsunami and they flooded their stations and their backup. So now we came up with our additional, like our Canadian nuclear plants, we have this additional power generators and flood plans and everything in effect to save us. So in case if that's the case, if African continents are coming with their nuclear generating stations and the power plants, they will go through the regulations, and there are some regulations also states that how high are we need to be from the sea levels in order to operate a nuclear power plant. So when that comes in, so also my power plant, it's situated right next to the Great Lake of Ontario. So it's important for us to understand the rules and regulations and how our station need to be planned. So that comes under the engineering component. So engineers, they come up with a proper plan when the flooding happens. And also we have additional safety generators to power our nuclear reactors and the cooling systems. In case if flooding happened, our main electrical output is affected. We have this emergency shutdown systems and also emergency power generators on site, high from the sea level, to help us to prevent a meltdown or shutdown. So we have those things in effect. And second, RP fundamentals and RP techniques. We not only educate the doctors, so in our nuclear power plant, most of our RP technicians and RP technologists are from high school. They don't even have a diploma because they go through this intense 1 year training program when they get hired, where we teach them. We also batch them according to their levels. So we batch orange, yellow, and green. So specific type of technicians can only do specific works. When a contamination happens, only a yellow or a green batch person can only help and decontam a person. And also only a green batch person can do the neutron survey. So we have specific defenses in places, and also we educate everybody in the nuclear plant. Even though I'm a chemical technologist, I need to go through an RP training to get my yellow badge in order to work in the power plant. So it it never matters where you're a doctor or you are like an engineer or you are like a high school dropout. In order to work in a power plant, you have to go through this intense nuclear RP fundamentals and training courses to work in our nuclear power plant.
Thank you very much for that. Those comments. I mean, it's very important to diversify our knowledge, and it doesn't matter if we are scientists, engineers. Working at a nuclear facility requires a high level of responsibility and to comply different clearance process. And specifically in the health issues, we always need to be prepared and train the personnel at different levels to be prepared for any emergency situation. Mr. Seth, can you please bring your question? Sorry for keeping you waiting a little bit on the line. Thank you. Mr. Seth, please, if you can proceed with your question. Oh, it's on the chat.
Hello.
Would you like to read us for you, or you would like to do it like by voice?
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
I'm Joshua Seth from Nigeria, Plateau State precise. Regarding the communication, who communicates? Because Here, having a certificate in the field alone is not enough to give somebody license to communicate, because one has to get a license. Does it mean that immediately I finish a course in that particular course, I have license to communicate? That's my question. Thank you.
Thanks for the question. I can answer that. So for us, you'll be surprised. So we have an emergency preparedness team, an organization which I'm also part of. We have different roles. And I currently hold a role of emergency shift assistant for the nuclear power plant. So in case of an emergency, I'm the middleman to communicate the emergency and the response plans in between the plant and the province and the state. Then state have their own team and own emergency preparedness team to communicate to the people. At the same time, I'm also part of an emergency response personnel outside of nuclear power plant where I communicate with the people. So we also go through a training for that. It's a certification that we obtain from our power plant. Again, you don't have to be an engineer or professional or anything. You have to go through the RP proper training and you get this special certification to be able to communicate to the people. And we have a plan, and that protocol is out there, and we have trained. So in my current role as emergency shift assistant, we have another like 11 emergency shift assistant only for our plant. So other nuclear plants, they have their own emergency shift assistant. Province have their own emergency shift team. So we all have our own teams that is already trained and certified. And I know a couple of our techs are only like high school guys, high school. So it's there.
Thank you. I think it's also very important to globalize this because most of our African colleagues are in preparation or they have already trained to be part of the next fleet of nuclear facilities deployment. And having these accreditations like a certificate of being RSO or RSA would be important maybe if the IEA globalize those efforts in the region, or at least allocates like a kind of a nuclear energy research hub center in Africa region that accreditates the future personnel developing those efforts. So I think that will be a very high level of recommendation to implement through an IATC technical cooperation project, as well as the recommendation from Dr. Suleiman Bello, because if we see the perspective from the health physicist point of view, I mean, several models have to be developed in terms of human factors and several identifications for the ethnicity of Africans. And it's important to start developing those models and also setting some budget for high performance computing facilities to develop those accurate calculations. Thank you. So unfortunately, Mr. Durasan have to leave for now, and we share his contact, email, and LinkedIn profile as well. And he says that please do not hesitate to email him or send him a message if you have any other additional questions or if you would like to know something about Canadian practices at OPG. Do we have any additional questions before we finish this session and we proceed with the conclusion remarks?
Florentia, just a comment.
Yes,
I've really liked what our speaker has said about everybody going through a radiation protection course, because at times we feel that only radiation protection officers or radiation safety officers should go through a radiation protection course, but everybody who is working with near radiation, like doctors in hospitals, nurses, so long as they are in that setting that is using radiation, or you go to nuclear power facilities, then those people who are working there, it is important for them to undergo through this training. And this basically shows how radiation protection aspect is in radiation and nuclear facilities. Thank you.
Thank you, Margaret. Thank you for that comment. That's very valuable, and all the radiation protection officers should be well equipped and having the advantages of receiving the accreditations they need to operate. We have an additional question from Mr. Humphrey. Do we have any research on radiation exposure on marine life due to pollution? Are you aware of any advanced research on this, Margaret? We'll appreciate your comments.
Well, probably there is, but I've not come across one, probably because I've not purposed to look for one. But I know our students are doing a lot of research, environmental radioactivity research in mining areas and in rivers. So there is likely to be some research on radiation in marine environment, but I've not come across any, probably because I've not looked for some.
Thank you, Margaret. We invite also Mr. Humphrey to send this question to Professor Chu, if maybe she can connect with other Chinese experts who are doing a part of research in marine pollution matters. That'll be very valuable as well, or any RPNS-YN member who's aware of this. So we will appreciate that. So if there are not additional questions, we would like to close today's session. First of all, let me share our email contact points if you have any additional inquiries or comments that you would like to highlight. These are our emails, connection points. So in today's session, we would like to reiterate that our efforts in radiation protection go far beyond the science. They are about people, their health, and their future as we continue to build a sustainable career path in this field. Let's ensure that we do it with a spirit of inclusivity, compassion, and purpose. So thank you once again to everyone who made this event possible and to all of you for being here today. We look forward to seeing you at our future webinars and to continuing this important conversation. Over to you, Margaret, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Florentia, for the role you've played in making this webinar possible. And to our speakers, we say a big thank you for taking time to talk to us. And to our collaborators, we have radiation protection, international radiation protection, YGN. I don't know if Victoria is still with us in this meeting. We can give her a few minutes to say a few words. And Suleiman, Dr. Suleiman Bello,
I'm still
is
here.
representing Africa IRPA YGN. So we'll give him a few minutes to say a few words. So Victoria?
Yes, can you hear me, Margaret?
Yes, we
Okay.
can. Please proceed, say a few words.
Thanks a lot again for the invitation. It was so nice that you organize webinars continuously and invite the IRPA YGN members. And it's so interesting for us to see what the different countries are doing, and you are putting so much effort into it. And I think it's really great. So I really appreciate that you are sharing your journey with us. And I'm grateful to also have Edwin in the IRPA YGN now. And yeah, I'm looking forward to proceed.
Thank you very much, Victoria. Yes, indeed, Edwin Kagai will be graduating in December, hopefully. He's from Kenyatta University. He's he serves in the RPNS-YN committee. So he represents young people in Kenya. And we are grateful for that. Dr. Bello, please say a few words.
Yes, thank you very much for organizing this webinar. I was very happy when I received the invitation for this webinar because severally we have made attempts at Africa YGN to organize a similar event, but you know, one thing or the other will come up and it is not successful. I think this is the way to go. Let us continue to collaborate because when we join hands together, there is nothing that we can not do. In Africa, we have so many problems, and the issue of nuclear is now a very hot cake, especially when you look at globally, you know, the world is going nuclear. So even laymen are now interested in learning about nuclear, trying to understand some of the basic things. For example, take an instance with the recent, event between, Israel and Iran. Many people, you know, are speculating so many things about nuclear. Some people, when they speak, you only laugh. So I think people really need us now more than ever. So let us continue to collaborate to take, you know, the issue of nuclear advocacy and radiation protection specifically very serious. I like the words of Professor as she kept saying, how do we, you know, promote radiation protection without being seen as people who are anti-nuclear? We are pro-nuclear, but at the same time, we advocate for, you know, radiation protection. Let us do everything while we are cognizant of the fact that radiation is also dangerous, apart from promoting the benefits that it is associated with. So let's continue to join hands to take up the message and let's do well, to communicate the issue of radiation protection, especially in Africa. We have serious work to do. We have so many mining areas where mining activities are taking place. You know, we have, application of radiation in medicine and things of that nature, and very little to no protection principles are being applied there. So we have to do well to continue to promote. Since we have the organizations, let us continue to use these organizations to send the right message. Thank you very much for this.
Thank you very much, Dr. Bello. Dr. Bello is a professor in university in Nigeria. I don't know if you have a representative from Nuclear Society of Kenya, Dr. Otoma or Engineer Agar, or anybody who would like to say something on behalf of NSK. Okay. So thank you all for taking time to attend this very informative webinar. It's always a pleasure having you around and interacting with our speakers and hearing your thoughts. We grow together. We grow when we hear what people have to say, and we grow when we hear responses to issues that people raise. And we appreciate your attendance, and we hope to keep engaging and collaborating in future. For me, that's it. I don't know if Laurentia, you have something to say, and Edwin, and then we close.
I would like to invite Mrs. Chang from China. She's joining us virtually. She's our winning leader of the group. If you are still in the room, Mrs. Chang, if you can just give us some few words for this.
Thank you very much, Florencia. Great job. And I'm looking forward to the next webinar, which will be announced very soon.
Thank you very much for your warm support and help for this event. And please, Edwin, over to you. And yes, that's all from our side. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Florencia. Mine is just to say thank you. We shall welcome more of you in our next webinar. coming very soon.
Thank you. So that's all from our side. So we will be closing this event soon. And thank you very much for keeping this engagement with us. We will send the materials through email and also the recording as well. If some of the participants were not able to join us for today's session. Thank you again to all of you and have a very good rest of your day depending where you are. Thank you.